And you're just like, hell yeah, baby, it's fairy tale Candyland. This is it. This is the one. And then what happens over time is sometimes it shifts away from gratitude and towards frustration.
Compromise, on the other hand, is a win-lose situation where I'm going to stand my ground. I don't care about your perspectives. I don't care about the short or long term. I just care about me. It's selfishness in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But here's what I think is so fascinating about that. When you go to integrate, you recognize that the sum is greater by you standing in your whole self, your true self, and honoring the true self that's within you, and then having those two come together.
Unless you're with someone selfish.
Facts.
If you're with someone selfish, you might have to stand your ground.
I agree.
Conscious couples, business partners, and individuals, welcome to the Conscious Couples podcast, where we share our life, love story, and relationship expertise to help you consistently cultivate the most magnificent relationship possible.
Never again will you feel hopeless and alone in your intimate relationship challenges. We'll help you have the courage to be your authentic self, communicate effectively, and constructively resolve conflict.
Having accumulated thousands of hours coaching, speaking, podcasting, and hosting live events with conscious couples all over the world, Alan and I are here to guide you in all things relationships.
Thank you again for tuning into the one place where it's not about you or me, it's about the we. Conscious couples and individuals, welcome back to the one and only Conscious Couples podcast. Today we have episode 185. Don't make this mistake most couples make. We will get into that in a moment. Before we jump into this episode, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Next Level Podcast Solutions for producing this show and so many others. Kevin and myself, the Next Level University team, Next Level Podcast Solutions, we now work with 113 podcasters and business owners. Those are paying clients every single month. It is truly tremendous. So if you want to start, grow, scale, or monetize a podcast and or need a business coach because you need to generate revenue like we used to, otherwise we were going to go out of business, please reach out. My information will be in the show notes. As always, ladies first, my love, what is your intention for today's episode besides making it awesome?
My intention for our listeners for today's episode is to help them understand the little nuance that we have learned that really sets conscious couples apart from an unconscious couple. And it's a duality. So I'm excited to share what that is, what that means, and how they can integrate that in their relationship so that they're not making this very sneaky mistake.
Before we jump in, what is duality?
So duality is when two things are happening at the same time in your brain. So for example, you can have it be sunny and cloudy outside. So duality is two concepts being held at the same time.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. That's a great example.
Thank you.
Because it can be sunny, and then all of a sudden it's behind the clouds, and it's what the hell's going on? And you'd be shocked every time if you couldn't hold duality.
Exactly.
It's a sunny, cloudy day. Got it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't hold dualities, and that's actually very interesting.
Yeah. Side tangent. There's a book called The Self-Made Billionaire Effect. I read it back in 2012, and it talks about how the number one indicator of a future billionaire is the ability to hold two seemingly opposing ideas in your consciousness simultaneously. Mm-hmm. Side tangent, conscious couples, we like to give you all the goods, so that's that. Okay, so we watched a film called Marriage Story, which was fucking terrible. No, it was a wonderful film in terms of the craft. It
was a great film from my perspective. We'll get into that why.
So speaking of duality, it was a great film, and it was wildly triggering because this was the opposite of a conscious couple. This is a warning. This is a big cautionary tale. We did an event on Wednesday this past week.
It was our 50th.
Yeah.
And I don't say ours, just you and I say ours in terms of the conscious couples community. So Shout out to you, conscious couples, and the conscious couples teams that have allowed that 50 event to happen and all of the consecutive ones stacking up to that moment.
I just had a personal moment while you were talking. I wonder if there's any conscious couples listener or community member who has been to all 50. If that is the
Ooh.
case, maybe they get an award.
You get a free car.
Yeah, toy car.
Made out of boxes.
Yeah, okay. Made out of boxes. Okay. All right. We have fun. My love. My
was a
sweetheart.
blast.
That was blessed. Okay, so this movie was amazing in terms of a great film, but this couple was fucking not great, not conscious. And so I'm going to give high level, and this is the movie we used for the event. So it's called Marriage Story. Watch it at your own risk. I found it very triggering because growing up, my mom and stepdad did not get along, and they were not a conscious couple or conscious individual, quite frankly. And yes, Mom, if you're listening, that is my truth. Although you've come up, thank you so much. But ultimately, yeah, growing up, it was tough. And my mom and stepdad were not on the same page ever. And they were often fighting. And they were the opposite of everything we stand for at the Conscious Couples podcast, which is part of why we've created this, quite frankly. That said, in the movie, there's an opening with these beautiful love letters where they write down everything they love about each other. So if you're out there, conscious couple, and you're not single, you're a conscious couple, imagine you writing out by hand, sitting down by yourself for hours, just everything you love about your wife or your husband or your partner and everything you can think of. And the movie opens with this beautiful monologue of narration of everything they love about each other.
Yeah.
With scenes in the background that represent those very things.
It was beautiful.
What a wonderful opening.
Yeah.
It got so much worse. All right, so
Started high.
Yeah.
Just, there was no
It's just-
upward trend.
yeah.
Just total downward.
Yeah, and so that's how it started, and that's where we talked about at the event. So the event was how to stay aligned with your partner, how to get off autopilot and make sure that you don't drift apart constantly. And I use, if you're on YouTube, you can see my hands. I do this. So you're growing apart, then you're growing together, then you're growing apart, then you're growing together, rather than just growing apart, not knowing it, and then blowing up on each other like in the movie. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, and you really want to watch it, spoiler alert, all right? Emilia recommended we show a very triggering scene, and this was the scene where I was like, fuck this movie, I want this movie gone. And it's because basically 10 years of neglect and resentment were put into one scene where they just got it all out. And there was tears at the end, but some things were said that can never be taken back.
No.
And when I met you, love, I remember thinking, I'm going to do this right. I cannot ever attack her or attack her character or yell at her or anything like that. And this couple was just ripping each other to the point where at one point, again, trigger alert, they said, I hope you die at the end. And so, again, we've all had imperfect moments, but what the hell,
Whoa.
right? So,
Yeah.
sweetheart, I want you to get into sort of the meat of what your takeaway was from the event. But ultimately, my takeaway is if you allow 10 years to build up without being grateful and expressing and having check-ins along the way, you are, quite frankly, screwed. And don't let that happen. I mean, it was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, so one of the things that you had asked me in our event was like, I don't really know why you like this. Like, I think I do.
Yeah.
But I gave
Not a fan.
some top 3 reasons.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest reasons why I would advocate for studying that, not necessarily watching it for entertainment, but studying that as the warning, as the lesson that it is because of the fact that the directors did an incredible job at the slow pace of it. It really did feel like, quote unquote, a real life. You were with them with that. And that's really important for the real and the authenticity when it comes to the actual film. And as it pertains to our conscious couples, it's like we bring films to the table and help study both the warning signs and the aspirations in relationships and film because we can all extrapolate lessons out of that. And my favorite part about that was the fact that the slow pace allowed you to pick up on those tiny little nuances that were unique to their relationship that every single conscious relationship does have. It's those cute little exchange. There's moments that you love about your partner that, like, for example, in the film, both in their love letters, they recognized how much they loved how competitive each other were. And they had shown a scene of them both playing Monopoly and getting upset about it. Like, very, very cute. And we all...
And also obnoxious.
Yeah. We all have moments where we're in our day-to-day lives as people where we fall in love with our partner on something. And it's those little things that just like make you just so in love with them. And then it also highlights and represents those little things that just like start to like eat away at you. And the little moments in that end up stacking up and building the frustrations that are only shared, which all couples fall into that trap at the fact that you are only sharing these frustrations of what your partner can do better at, how they should do things, what you're frustrated, what you don't like, all these things. And all of that becomes the feedback as opposed to the gratitude of those little moments that are in and end up in those love letters.
Okay, so in the beginning of a relationship, and by the way, in real time, sweetheart, I'm realizing that during our RT events, relationship talks events, we're facing more towards the audience. And you and I usually in the podcast are facing a little more towards each other. So I'm going to turn towards you a little bit more here in real time. But one of the things that happens in relationship is you, in the honeymoon phase, you are only looking at the good. First of all, imagine you meet your partner and both partners are coming to the table with their very best. They are showing their very best. They're thoughtful. They're making sure they dress nice for the date. They're making sure they show up on time. And on top of that, you want to fall in love. So you're seeing all of the best.
And on top of that, you never express the frustrations because you literally don't even have it on your radar.
Yes, and you got endorphins going. And you're just like, hell yeah, baby, it's fairy tale Candyland. This is it. This is the one. And then what happens over time is sometimes it shifts away from gratitude and towards frustration. And one thing that I want to make as clear as humanly possible, it's very hard to hold duality, as Emilia mentioned at the beginning of the episode, where you are consistently at 50-50 of gratitude and frustration. Now, if you only ever look at what's good, you are Mr. Magoo or Mrs. Magoo.
AKA delusional.
AKA you're delusional.
And you're not improving.
You're not improving because there's no frustration.
There's no substance.
There's no meaning. No
goal. That means you're not up against anything. You're not actually striving for anything. Like, everything's just fine.
Yeah, all the time. How are you? Good.
Everything's
so
great.
Good. Have you ever met those people?
Oh.
It's so good. And it's like, I know there's no real substance to your answer. So, how are you? Frustrated as fuck. I'm kidding. All right, so this is the thing. Above the iceberg is the social world. Below the iceberg is the stuff that is going on behind the scenes that are struggling. So there's something that I adore about Emilia, her work ethic. Unbelievable. Best of all time. My favorite thing in the entire world. What's the downside that comes with work ethic? All of us know. She's less available. She's more focused. She's got goals. She can't hang out with me all the time. There's a pro and a con to absolutely everything in life. Everything. And I really wish someone sat us down as children and said, hey, I just want you to know that everything that's magnificent in life comes with a price. And your parents said, every day you have to wake up and eat a little bit of a shit sandwich. Yeah. That was essentially what they said.
Yeah, that was the saying that helped illuminate that.
Right. There's a pro and a con. Being married can be magnificent, and it comes with responsibility and household. And. Yes, exactly. The and, not the or, and. So Emilia has magnificent work ethic, and there's inevitable frustrations that might come with that. I actually adore it. But I remember when I first met Emilia, I was so grateful because I walked into seeing her, and her parents live in a magnificent home, and I said, this is a beautiful home. And the first thing she said, yeah, my parents worked their ass off. And I thought to myself, I'll never forget it. Oh, thank goodness. Not another spoiled brat, thank goodness. And the truth of the matter is, I had past partners who would want trips and want to be successful and want a magnificent home and want goals and dreams and want a partner in great shape. But they wouldn't also want hard workouts.
They actually disdained
They
it.
disdained
made you feel
hard.
bad
Yes.
for it. Thought as though you shouldn't have to.
I remember thinking to myself, you get to date a fitness model, but you don't want me to work out. You get to date a dream chaser, but you don't want me to have goals. And so at the end of the day, my point of this episode, Emilia and I's point of this episode is, on one side, you have what you're grateful for. I am grateful for Emilia's work ethic tremendously, to the point where I don't even know if there are any downsides, let's be honest. But, yeah, you're cute. But the truth is, what's the downside? Okay, I'm not going to have, hey, can you spend the weekend with just me? No, I have goals, Alan. So I think that it's very naive, very ignorant, and very frustrating for me to start realizing how many people want the upside without any downside. And when you learn in life, like I did growing up, that everything has a downside, I playfully joke that the spoiled brat, any level of entitlement was ripped from me at a young age. When you lose your father at 2 and your stepfather leaves at 14 and just other challenges, you basically realize, okay, life is inherently difficult, and despite that, I can make it meaningful. And I think that you and I hold that same belief of everything in life that is worth fighting for comes with work and challenge. And if you're out there and you're in a conscious relationship and you don't view conflict and challenge as an opportunity to grow, like this couple obviously didn't, and every time there's a challenge, you blame the other person, you will end up divorced, and or someone's going to settle and be wildly unfulfilled.
Facts. And what we really emphasized in the event that I thought was powerful was that there's, in the film we used as an example to showcase, because it was, the series of their relationship over the span of, I don't want to say at least 10 years, but it had to have been around
I think
that.
it was, because their son was, I think, 7 or 8.
Yeah, so it was around then.
Yeah.
And in that time frame, there were so many opportunities, not just to express the gratitude and the love that they had for one another, but there was also moments to recalibrate and realign on their individuality and recognize where they might have overfused and overenmeshed as a couple. AKA the female lead in that film, she just became everything for the male.
She lost herself.
She lost herself, lost her core identity of who she is. And he benefited from that. So it wasn't like he was guarding or recognizing that she was losing herself along the way. If anything, again, it benefited them. And that benefit,
in the moment,
I was just going to say, benefit is short term, not necessarily long term, because eventually you wake up one day and you're looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, who the hell am I?
I've been there.
Why have I not chased after those goals that I've set for myself? Why am I not this person? And why am I so unfulfilled? And that's the indicator of always trading off the short-term moment of making it better for the quote-unquote we at the expense of the me.
Hi, everybody. I wanted to jump on here and talk about the Conscious Couple podcast that I've been listening to for a while now, and I absolutely love, whether you're single, in a relationship, or not. This is the podcast for you. I mean, think about it. If you're not in a relationship, look at it like building a house. If you were going to build a house, wouldn't you get the instructions, figure it out, look it over, start practicing some of the little things so that once you start doing it, it's going to be the best house that you ever built? Or if you're in the house already and there's issues that are going on with it, aren't you going to try and fix them? Or think about it while you're building the house and the base layer, there's some issues there. Don't you want to correct those and fix them before you work on the rest of it? Have a great day, guys. Awesome podcast.
Something that you and I try to do all the time is, and you and I were just talking about this before the podcast episode, there's moments where if it comes to our own integrity of maintaining authenticity to ourselves, we will not prioritize attachment and make people pleasing each other at the expense of our authenticity and who we are as individuals. And I think that is so important. And so kind of to that end, there's multiple moments where they could have recalibrated. They could have checked back in on where their values have evolved, how their beliefs about things, how their goals might have changed over time. But if you don't maintain your individuality, you're not expressing the gratitude with the frustrations. What are the chances you're going to want to talk about your values and how they've changed, your beliefs and how they've changed, and your goals and how they've evolved, right? It's very unlikely. And so those were the 3 warnings and 3 lessons that I thought were really powerful to have all of us get a reminder of.
I have a story that I think is a very tangible example of how we've actually done this very well, particularly recently. 2 years ago, we found Tiger Lily. Tilly girl. Emilia posted a Facebook memory of her with little Tiger Lily, our cat. Cutest little thing. Oh my goodness.
Sweet. It's Tauriel's birthday next week.
Oh my goodness. So we'll have to get her a huge meat pie. Mm-hmm. But anyways, so
Tilly girl.
When we found Tiger Lily, and by we found, I mean Emilia found.
She found us.
She found us. You found her. It's both, duality. And I was concerned because we have goals and we want to have children. We want to start a family. We have all this stuff. And I already was a little overwhelmed with having 2 pets because my goals require a lot of subservience to them. And it was not yet the ultimate cat dad, which I obviously am now. So,
For sure.
but real talk, you and I had different opinions about Tiger Lily at first. And then you wanted to keep her, and I said, I don't think we should. And then you honored that, and then I honored you, and we kept her. And I'm so glad we did. So
Me
thank
too.
you in hindsight.
Me too.
At the time, though, I was shitting kittens, pun intended, because I didn't.
A
I
third?
was already overwhelmed, and now recently I had Emilia. I sat her down, and we sat down together, and we talked about promises, and I had said. Emilia said that she promised that we would not have another, because I'm afraid that we're going to run into more cats or dogs and then end up taking them in our home, because Emilia loves animals more than any human I've ever met, and I adore that. And Snow White ends up with a lot of animals, and I got to be careful. Now, I do want to change the world. I don't necessarily want us to have 15 animals, but I also want you to honor your truth and honor yourself. So this is the challenge in relationships. How do I help Emilia honor who she is and honor who I am, which is someone who knows if I'm going to be a pet dad and an actual dad when we have children, I'm going, and also a business owner and also fitness and also a podcaster. How am I going to handle all of that? And so Emilia said, I promise that I will do my very best within alignment to not find another stray cat, for lack of better phrasing. And if we do, we will have a conversation. But I had this moment of, if something were to happen where you 10 out of 10 had to keep an animal, I would want to honor that, because otherwise you end up unfulfilled. And you have to stay true to who you are. Now, listeners, be careful with that, because your partner might take advantage of that. I know that you won't. And so this is what's so fascinating, last piece. Emilia was going to honor my truth about letting Tiger Lily get adopted. And you were doing all the work to find a home and find the right parents.
You were to support you and honor you.
And I appreciate that. And that's actually why I ended up coming downstairs and saying, sweetheart, I already named her. I've fallen in love.
Which is so
and
funny.
And her name
because...
is Tiger Lily.
Oh, you were like,
Tiger
Lily.
Tiger Lily. And then you said Tiger Nala Lily.
I was crying.
Yeah, it was
the
so
whole
wonderful.
Thing.
And I'm so glad that we did that. But if you had stood your ground and not honored me, and I had stood my ground and not honored you, we wouldn't have wanted... It wouldn't be beautiful. It would be a resentment rather than a wonderful thing with Tiger Lily. And so I think it makes sense why relationships are so hard, because when you have a goal in conflict or a core value in conflict, how do you handle that? And how do you handle that in a way that improves the whole and no one loses with over-enmeshment or under-enmeshment of you do you? So
hyper-individuality. And that's where, I think that conscious couples communication skills go such a long way.
So what's your take on that situation?
Because of the fact that we don't believe in compromise. Like, that's been very well articulated on this podcast, and I want to reemphasize it, because we believe in integration, what you just did with your hands. And there's a big belief gap in that, where people who believe in compromise and people who believe in integration, that gap is so big, because what's in between?
Let's define each.
Someone's willingness to show up to make it happen and communicate to find the win-win-win. That's integration.
Yep.
And that is...
What is compromise?
Is creating based on like creativity itself. Compromise, on the other hand, is a win-lose situation where I'm going to stand my ground. I don't care about your perspectives. I don't care about the short or long term. I just care about me. It's selfishness in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But here's what I think is so fascinating about that. When you go to integrate, you recognize that the sum is greater by you standing in your whole self, your true self, and honoring the true self that's within you, and then having those two come together.
Unless you're with someone selfish.
Facts.
If you're with someone selfish, you might have to stand your ground.
I agree.
And you can't look for the win-win-win. I feel like I've been someone who is always looking for the greater good. Yeah. And I know that you are too. So that's why we work. Because if you weren't looking for the greater good, I would be at a detriment.
Facts.
Because I've been in relationships in the past, friends, family, not just intimate relationships, although definitely, where I'm looking for the greater good and they're looking for their good.
For me.
Yeah, the me. So I'm looking for the we and the world, and they're looking for the me. That's not a fair fight.
It's not.
And so win-lose, you got to be very careful of the win-lose. And more importantly, what if it's 80% win for your partner, but only 20% win for you? This gets really challenging.
And that's where I think that courageous, what I said earlier, the courageous, vulnerable, humble communication triad, the triad of transformation that you and I bring in with couples when we do relationship talks coaching, is so powerful, because that starts to dig into what are the needs that I have, what are the values that I need to communicate, and how do I communicate those to my partner that really are vulnerable and loving. And so, for example, with Tilly Girl, it was actually pretty funny because all of my family rolled their eyes at us whenever we tell this story, because they're like, I knew Emilia was gonna be keeping Tilly, and I'm like, no, like this was the first time I was literally, she had 3 available adoption homes, and literally the night before she was going to be delivered to, like, I purposely didn't emotionally attach to her for the first 2 days. So I did. And in hindsight, it's so obvious that I did that at a little degree of self-sacrifice. And if what's really beautiful is you and I are able to talk about that.
But I thought I was going to self-sacrifice by keeping her, and then I came.
Because you've never had any partner actually honor you.
I know,
right?
Which is why I was so afraid. That it's so powerful. There's a lot of layers to this. How do we make this simpler? Well, we need to wrap this in a bow.
We do.
Duality. Okay, Emilia has the me, and I have the me. What is best for the we? And how do you do that without self-sacrificing in a world where you have to sacrifice in order to get to the next level?
I think it's trade-offs.
It's pros and cons and trade-offs, but most people aren't aware of what those trade-offs are.
Facts, and that's where relationship talks coaching goes so far. So the power that we reviewed, dualities, we reviewed the power of the and, the frustration and gratitude. That is something that even I have struggled with, like, as of late. Like, Alan was like, love, I do think that there's a lot more frustration that's coming to the table than gratitude and of that sort. And I reflected recently and I was like, that's so true. And I, like, my fault, growth to a fault. I grow so much and I'm so focused on improvement that that's all Alan hears all the time. My team and everyone. So it's exhausting. I can only imagine.
I like it because, well, so I want to share this for everybody. When you're I said this to a relationship talks coaching client recently, and I'm going to say it to every listener. Like, listen, you're here. Turn this off if you don't want to be here. It's really easy to be nice all the time when you don't have any fucking goals.
I love when you say that.
It's like, why can't you just be nice? Because we have to achieve something. You can't run a company and only be nice. Trust me, I tried. I called me and the chief officers the 3 cowards. No one wanted to be bad cop. I had to fire people. Yeah. Like, you need to be off this bus. You're not interested. So at the end of the day, when you have no goals, it's very easy to be nice. When you have big goals, there's more frustration. Frustration is a byproduct of someone or something in the way of a goal. So when Emilia has big goals and core values, I am in the way of them sometimes. And that's okay. So yes, lately there's been a lot more frustrations shared than gratitude. So I'm just hoping you might, bring it up a little.
And I am.
Yeah, and you are. And
I'm grateful for that.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for it.
I'm demonstrating how it has to be a conscious effort. Yeah. Like, it really does. Because usually you tend to gravitate towards one or the other. That's where the power of the and comes in.
And I don't want you to be Mrs. Magoo of, like, I'm so grateful for
21 gratitude
oxygen today. Like, although I am. Yes, I know. But you also have to be a warrior and a amazing goal achieving goddess.
Yes.
And I love that about you. And I can't want her to be that and never have her frustrated. Like,
facts.
So at the end of the day, I hope that if nothing else lands in this episode, my main takeaway for the listener would be, get real. This is not a fairy tale. And it can be once you learn how to become better. I live a fairy tale relationship with you. It is unbelievable. And that is because of all the work we are putting in every single day to become better. So that's my takeaway. What is yours, my love?
I am going to second yours. I'm not going to have my own original thought because I feel like I could just continuously spew on this topic. So thank you. We do. Yeah. So with that being said.
Can we put the digital asset in the show notes for the humility, courage, vulnerability.
The triad of transformation.
Triad of transformation. So, I love you, baby. All right, so seriously though, the digital asset will be in the show notes for humility, courage, and vulnerability. Yeah, the triad of transformation. Go sit down with your partner. Think about this. Green, yellow, red. Humility lately? Green, yellow, or red. Courage to share your truth? Green, yellow, or red. Vulnerability to sit in that uncomfortable truth? Green, yellow, or red. If you or your partner are red, that means you're headed in the wrong direction. And trust me, to circle back to the movie, to wrap this in a bow, the movie ended with the male in the relationship reading the letter, finally. And it was too little, too late.
Too late.
Too late. And he was crying because he wished that he had known all along that that's how she really felt.
And I wish she actually gave it. I think she was a coward.
I agree. I don't think she was courageous enough to share it. Yeah. So share with your partner the frustrations, yes, and all of the wonderful things too. Yeah. So that is what we'll end with, because Emilia and I, of course, could talk about this for days.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to that. So Relationship Talks coaching is not just going to help you stay on the same page, it's also going to help you do so in alignment with your goals and dreams. When you have big goals and dreams and you are sick and tired of complacency, come to Relationship Talks coaching. Now, we're not for everyone, but we might be for you. The first one is free. The link will be in the show notes. And we are going to help you achieve your goals and dreams together. That's what we do. That's what we love. And it's not going to be easy, but it is going to be worth it, and it is going to be meaningful.
Our next Relationship Talks event will be September 17th, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This will be the 5 love languages that no one ever talks about. So, Gary Chapman's work, we all know the 5 love languages, but honestly, with all due respect, it's not enough. And as a conscious couple, you want to have the 5 love languages that are the cheat codes that no one talks about. Alan and I have taken the data, the research, and all of our experience together, and we've found that there's 5 love languages that no one talks about that conscious couples just get benefits from. So we're going to bring that into the event, and we want to share that with you. So join us. The Relationship Talks registration link is also in the show notes.
Thank you all for listening to this episode. We are here every single week helping your love flourish in the real world, not fairy tale Candyland. Thank you again, as always, viewers, listeners. We appreciate you, conscious couples and singles community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, it's not about you or me. It's about the we.
The we.
We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. We love connecting with the Conscious Couples community, so please check the show notes to connect with us and say hello on social media.
If you and your partner resonated with this episode, please leave us a 5-star review at the link in the show notes and share this with someone you love. Until next time, it's not about you or me, it's about the we. We'll talk to you next time.